Hello everyone, welcome to another session of Growth Chat by Mailmodo. Today we have a very special guest, Anand. Anand is the co-founder of Leap.club. Leap.club is a community-led professional network for women. Anand also was one of the early members at Zomato, and uh, he played a pivotal role in the success of Zomato Core. Welcome Anand to our Growth Chat. How are you doing today?
Doing very well, and thanks a lot, Akib, for thinking of us. Thinking of Leap.club and me, and looking forward to the next 45, 60 minutes.
So first of all, I want to congratulate you on building such a massive community, especially for women. I hear so many good things about Leap.club from all the friends. My employees are the members as well, and they say that they benefit a lot from the community. How did this idea come to you?
No, thank you so much for that. And this is the exact kind of the customer love and the user love is what keeps us going. So we of course strive on that. The Leap is now more than 2 years old. So we started in May of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. So
Hmm.
the idea came around 6 months before we officially launched. So around December, Jan of 2020, and at that time we were researching a few ideas. To be honest, we were studying a lot of businesses. LinkedIn as a business was very interesting for us. So we were closely tracking it. Even post Microsoft acquired LinkedIn, how the growth had been, how the company was still the revenue was growing by 3x 4x year on year. So we thought that this is great, and we also saw a lot of smaller sort of a lot of the newer islands or newer businesses coming out of LinkedIn. So we there was a company, for example, called Lunch Club at that time that was doing really well, and it was helping you discover and meet new people. There was a company called Chief in the US that was just starting out. They do something very similar to what we do, and similarly, 2 3 other companies that were just building a niche for themselves. So we found this entire professional slash social networking space very interesting. Now we also knew that um, this wasn't a hot topic at that time. At that time, edtech was really taking off. Fintech, of course, was doing really well. So this was a slightly different idea, but the fact that it was more B2C, the fact that it was the fact that we had a chance to build something very meaningful for our users that could maybe impact their professional or social lives. So we were attracted towards the entire this space. Even when we were doing our initial research, I mentioned that we took almost 6 months to launch. Even when we were doing our initial research, we spoke to Ragini, my co-founder, and we spoke to almost 300-400 people from our first degree, second degree, third degree connects. And there was a bunch of questions that we were asking around growth at workplace, about professional growth, professional networking, like all of these things. And we realized that the interest or the passion with which women were answering our questions were very
Hmm.
different than males, than other genders.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
for all the other genders, it felt like they were doing a favor for us. That okay,
Hmm.
these guys are asking something, so let me just now get back. Let me just answer these questions. But with a lot of our women respondents, it was the answers were very passionate about let's say the challenges that they've possible challenges that they might face at the workplace, or let's say how professional networking is slightly different from them for them. And that's when that was the first cue, to be honest, that maybe there is a world where we build something specifically for women. And initially when we started out, the idea was more centered around building a
Hmm.
professional network. Last 6 8 months, the idea has slightly taken shape to be more social. We remember that in March of 2020, we actually made a very simple one-pager website live saying that, okay, this is what we want to do. If you are keen to know more, just register with your email ID, and we just posted on social. And that sort of
Hmm.
today when we look back and we call it like it went sort of mini viral,
Hmm.
because we got, I think, more than 1,500 odd registrations in 24 hours from people that we had never met, we had never heard of, who'd never spoken
Hmm.
to us. And they all said that, yes, Leap is needed in the world. You guys are, heading in the right direction. And that was,
Hmm.
the responses. and then this response to the entire registration, this one-pager website that we did, told us that we're heading in the right direction, and that's how the entire idea was, of Leap.club was born.
Should I call that as a community market fit?
I think we're still looking for, we're still sort of course, chasing community market fit and product market fit, but all the love that we get from our users. And in fact, we made a website. We have made a website out of it. It's called love.leap.club. So in case any of you guys are hearing, so you guys can log into that as well. The amount of love that we get is pretty insane. And again, that tells us that we're heading in the right direction. We'll, like any young company, we'll change lanes a few times, right? We started off doing something, we'll offer something else, we'll go to something else, and we'll keep evolving. But the customer love has been pretty top notch. That is what has kept us going from day one. So hopefully, yes, community market fit is we're somewhere close to that.
Yeah, yeah. One thing, since you built a community mainly for women, are all communities should be about niches, or are there any pros and cons of choosing one niche and saying no to all other types of people?
I feel, I think we have to firstly, our community is 50% of the world, right? So it'll be sort of slightly incorrect to call it a niche. But what we always believe is that it has to be centered around a common mission. For example, now let's take a very basic example. Let's say we want to start a group, and community is a slightly overused word. So let's use a word, let's use another word which is simple, which is simpler. That let's say we want to start a group of people who want to hike together or who want to play together. So the common mission there is that, okay, maybe every Sunday morning we're going to get up and we're going to go. We will show up at a place and we will work out or play together. Similarly, we feel that community needs a purpose, community needs a goal, community needs a mission, and everything and anything that we do as community enablers, as a platform, it has to somehow forward those goals or forward that mission. So today, for us, we are a very mission-oriented team, very mission-oriented company. We always, everything that we do, we think more women in leadership positions. So for us, that has become the force that binds or the mission that binds our community together. So anyone who's thinking of actually starting a community, be it small, be it big, be it for a gender, be it for anything else, just make sure that you have your mission, that you have that common thing that brings everyone together. That has to be spelled out really, really well right from day one.
Right. So the first thing to learn here is that every community should start with one common purpose, and people who will feel associated with that common purpose will join the community.
Yeah.
So how do
Yeah.
you yeah, please go ahead.
No, I was just saying that even, of course, Leap is we're trying to build a community, but we see many examples of it in our everyday lives. The Flat and Flatmates group on Facebook, when, for example, which took off, and I'm assuming it's still popular. That was again a community around a common purpose, whatever that purpose might be. So we've seen that play out multiple times, and it's extremely important that we have it, very clear in black and white on day one.
Yeah, yeah. So my question was, how do you ensure that that same common purpose is seen in action on a day-to-day basis? So what, like, you must have taken some strategy, or some you have done some work around that. Can you give some examples?
Yeah, I think the first thing is that we have to really live it and breathe it, right? Just having something which sounds super cool, putting it up on your website, putting it up or somewhere else is the easiest thing to do, right? So there are always, whenever you're starting something, be it a community, be it a business, there are always the tough things to do and there are always the easier things to do. The easy things to do, in my opinion, is always this: we'll make a very nice looking website, we'll make a very nice looking Instagram page, we'll have very cool words that define what we want to be. But the tougher things are actually living that every day, right? So we as a team, we try and live that. We live our mission every day. So we talk to multiple users. We have our ears to the ground. We take continuous feedback from our community members as to what is working, what is not working, why are, let's say, a specific cohort of people joining, how can we make them win. So we have to obsess about all of these small, all of these metrics. For a business like ours, a lot of the traditional metrics when we are starting out businesses like DAOs, MAOs, how many weekly active users or how many paying users, like all of these can actually wait. Just start building small, start understanding why are people joining, why are they staying back, what additionally can they do, in the with the community that you're creating. Are they winning or not? If they are winning, then what is helping them win? What is helping them get there? And these are, the questions that you really need to think through, and your answers will keep on evolving as you build. But and this is what has helped us in the last 2 years as well. We let me actually give you another example, or this thing that people are, or our users or our members, don't think of Leap as a business unit, that they don't have a transactional relationship with us. And I'll tell you how we capture this. Not everyone loves us. Even we have churn, we have people who don't like us, all of that happens. But typically what happens is, with any other platform, with any other company, be it, let's say, an e-commerce company, or let's say, any delivery companies, we have a very transactional relationship. Oh, I was unhappy with my order, I'll quickly go and rant on the chat group, or I'll quickly go and rant on Twitter, and we want an immediate solution. We want our money back, whatever it is. With us, people treat us very, very differently. They almost treat us like a human. So even when they share feedback, it's actually with the idea of that you guys are doing something great, keep at it. This didn't work for me because of ABC reasons, but please keep at it. And maybe, if you do C, D, E, or whatever, X, Y, Z, maybe you'll improve. So, all of these things are extremely important when you build a community. You have to be really part of it, your own as well.
Yeah. That's actually correct. So that also shows how much people love this community. And so is there any, or are there any metrics that you measure on a, like, a weekly basis or a monthly basis, and which defines your success, which defines your goal?
Yeah. The holy grail of any community is engagement, right? And then we have to, and I know engagement is a very broad term, so we have to understand what engagement means for your specific business. For example, for a business like ours, again, you fall into the trap of DAOs and daily active users and monthly active users pretty quickly. But ultimately, we know that, for example, we are not a daily use case platform. You're not opening, you open Instagram daily, you open Twitter daily for for whatever reason. Leap is not there as yet. Leap is there for a specific, something else as of now. So we have to understand what that specific this thing is. For example, one key metric that we track. Now, Leap is a platform that will help you discover and connect with like-minded people. That is one of our product offerings. That you can discover a lot of people in your city, outside your city, in organizations that you want to work at, whatever. Let's say in organizations that you want to crack business partnerships with, whatever be the reason. So, for example, we track connections a lot. So in June, in fact, we enabled 14,000 1:1 connections. So again, we learned that if people are really valuing connections on the platform, then our products and features also have to be built around that. The people should be able to seamlessly discover and connect, let's say, 1:1 with someone, or in a group setting. So these are again engagement metrics that become really important for us. Now we see, we also see that we have a lot of micro communities on the app which are very, very popular. So we see engagement there. That how many people are actively contributing, via text or in any other way on those in those micro communities. How many are passively, let's say, consuming information, and maybe are not super active when it comes to sharing stuff, but are passively consuming information. So you have to define what engagement works for you at that this thing, and then optimize for that. I'm seeing a question, for example, on the chat, and I know that you and I have also spoken about this. That why did we keep Leap a paid only network, for example? So if we, when we talk about engagement, when we talk about people being active on the platform, we realized pretty early on that this was one of the ways in which we can make sure that people are active, right? Let me actually double click on this. When we were building Zomato Gold, when Raji and I were building Zomato Gold in our previous life, we had almost close to 2 million members across 10 countries, right? The most inactive base out of that 2 million were people who didn't pay for the membership who got it for free because maybe Zomato ran a competition, or maybe we wanted to do some trials, whatever it is. That was always the most inactive group. So we learned pretty early on, and we were clear very early on that if engagement is key for
Hmm.
us, we want our members to be active,
Hmm.
then we have to optimize for that. So we optimize for it by making it paid only. The minute you pay for it, you are
Hmm.
definitely going to open the app, open the website, just see what is happening. Right? I paid for
Hmm.
it, so I want my money's worth. I want an ROI on that
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
this is how you have to keep thinking, and this is how every you have to predict every second order, third order effect of everything that you do.
Hmm. Interesting. And are there any challenges with making a wall for entering the making like for the users, or like not necessarily paid, but any other kind of wall? Like, what are the pros and cons if I have to build a new community today? Should I be creating walls?
So again, not an easy answer, right? Because there are
Hmm.
pros and cons for sure. One pro,
Hmm.
for example, that I mentioned was that okay, it ensures engagement at some level because people are using it, people are opening your application or platform. The
Hmm.
biggest con is that okay, what is Leap, right? People don't even know what we are still a very young company. Why should I
Hmm.
suddenly pay X rupees to become a member? Why
Hmm.
can't I get a free trial? So all of
Hmm.
these things are again cons, right?
Hmm.
Another con is that we knew that this would happen is it reduces your TAM, right? It reduces your addressable market, total addressable market when you're starting out pretty
Hmm.
significantly. So if you want to build a venture backed business, then you have to think
Hmm.
through really really closely because the VCs
Hmm.
will might not like it. Yeah, okay, now it's a paid only product, so maybe only
Hmm.
X% of India can afford it.
Hmm.
So is the market big enough? Right. So you have to
Hmm.
answer these questions. You have to really weigh the pros and cons. There are
Hmm.
a lot of users that even we talk to even today, and it's gone down.
Hmm.
It's taken us 2 years to get there. Imagine when we were
Hmm.
starting out in our year one, when no one knew Leap. We were just starting out. Why should I pay the money? Okay, who else is there? But
Hmm.
there are only 300 people on this platform. Why should I pay
Hmm.
right now? Maybe I'll come in much later. So you'll have to
Hmm.
hustle a lot harder, not only for
Hmm.
your first 100 members, but also for your first 1,000, for your first 5,000 members. It's going to be a journey which is going to be extremely tough.
Hmm.
You have to be extremely patient as well, right? Because
Hmm.
again, as founders, we are the most impatient lot ever,
Hmm.
right? We want done everything pretty quickly. So we have to. You also have to make your peace with the fact that your business will grow slowly, but
Hmm.
you're optimizing for the right things. Again, let's say engagement in our case. So you have to
Hmm.
weigh the pros and cons. Everything that you do in life. The grass always seems greener on the other side. There are always
Yeah.
pros and cons. So,
Yeah.
but you just have to be very clear that what are you optimizing for, and then just keep optimizing for that.
Anand, it seems that we are losing you. I think there's an interruption from Anand's side in internet. Uh, but I'm going through. Plus, this is for the audience. Keep flowing your questions. We are going to ask all the questions to Anand today.
I think
Anand?
we're back. Okay, I think there was some
Yeah, yeah, Anand. So I think we lost you for a minute.
okay, I can. Yeah, I'm here, so everything is working okay for me.
Okay. I think we lost you in the end when you were completing your answer. So if you can just repeat last few sentences, that would be great.
No, I think what I was saying was that we just have to optimize for what we truly believe in, right?
Hmm.
There will
Hmm.
always be pros and cons. There will always be, again,
Hmm.
if you think of it, what is an easier answer? Easier answer is let's make it free. Let's get more people in. Let's see what happens. But the
Hmm.
easiest answer might not always be the best answer. So you just have
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to understand what is the business that you're building. What is your business
Hmm.
going to be 2 years, 5 years down the line, and then just
Hmm.
keep optimizing for that and be patient about it.
Yeah. So since most of our audience are marketers, they also want to know how did you get your first 100 users or 1,000 users? Was it always paid or was it paid initially? If yes, how did you convince them to uh, pay for the subscription? So how was the initial few months of journeys?
So it wasn't easy at all. And we have actually
Hmm.
always been paid from day one. So right from the first member to now, we are almost going
Hmm.
to hit 10,000 pretty quick, pretty soon. So the right
Hmm.
from the first member to the 10,000th member, everyone's paid. And it
Hmm.
wasn't easy because, again, let me throw open a scenario to you. Imagine that
Hmm.
you're starting a company, you're pitching your
Hmm.
product to someone, especially when
Hmm.
you're building a network or a community. What's the first question
Hmm.
that anyone will ask you? The first question anyone asks is,
Hmm.
okay, who else is there? How many more people are
Hmm.
there?
Yeah.
And imagine our question when we imagine our answer when we were pitching to the first person, the 10th person, the 100th person. That it's a very small community, right? We're just starting out.
Hmm.
So initially,
Hmm.
it was a massive struggle, and
Hmm.
all kudos and all this thing to my co-founder Ragni, who was in fact driving around Delhi, Gurgaon, and NCR,
Hmm.
meeting people, convincing them that this is something meaningful that we are trying to build. So in fact,
Hmm.
our first 15, 20 odd members, I believe, I think Ragini had met them twice, in
Hmm.
cafes, in their offices, whatever it was,
Hmm.
she actually met them twice, then convinced
Hmm.
them that this is something meaningful, and then they paid the money.
Hmm.
Eventually, then, these two meetings became, let's say, one meeting. And then, COVID happened, so these meetings became Zoom calls. And then today,
Hmm.
these Zoom calls have become, a lot of them come on their own now, but also,
Hmm.
these Zoom conversations have now become 10, 15-minute phone calls. So it's a
Hmm.
journey that
Hmm.
has happened over the last 2 years. It's been pretty crazy. It's been pretty rough. But
Hmm.
there is no substitute to sitting in front of a person, or let's say
Hmm.
picking up the phone and
Hmm.
making that phone call and selling,
Hmm.
right? Because no matter how much we read articles on product led growth, and we want to really build a really cool looking product that will bring in your first 10,000 users, it's going to
Hmm.
rarely happen. Once in a generation we come across those kind of products that just grow, that go crazy. So whether you're building a SaaS business, whether you're building a community, whether you're doing something else, we truly believe that the first 100,000 users is going to be pure hustle. Be prepared to
Hmm.
keep on pitching. So you have to build a very hard skin as well, because people are going to ask a lot of
Hmm.
questions. They will keep
Hmm.
refusing. All right.
Hmm.
So, but there is no substitute to that. All of these
Yeah.
things, all the product led growth, all the word of mouth, referrals, all of these come in after you hit a certain scale, right?
Yeah.
So before that, it's pure hustle.
Yeah. So Kriti has one question regarding that. Like, what was the main value proposition that you offered to your first few members?
To the first few members, we were actually very cognizant in, or very this thing about packaging it in a way that we show real
Hmm.
value. So in fact, we
Hmm.
had, we were focused around coaching. We were focused around we had some mental wellness aspect at that time. So we had some modules, or we had some features on which will help you meet other people. So we had defined it really well for them, that if you are paying
Hmm.
us, for the first 7 8 months of our launch, we didn't have a website, we didn't
Hmm.
have a app, nothing, right? So it's just,
Hmm.
all managing, all happening through WhatsApp groups, all happening through emails. But we had a
Hmm.
very clear value prop for these users, around
Hmm.
mental wellness, around coaching, around growth at their workplace, around them meeting other people for their own goals and
Hmm.
aspirations. And of course, we then
Hmm.
designed it and we worked hard to make that happen for them. But for the
Hmm.
first, now, as a now Leap, with almost 10,000 users, we are making the switch from being community enablers to being a platform, right? Where
Hmm.
there are so many people who are just super active themselves and they're making things happen themselves. So Leap has to make sure that we enable them with the best possible tools to make all that activity happen. But for our first
Hmm.
100 users, for our first 1,000 users, we
Hmm.
were making everything happen. We had to be very clear with our value proposition. In case another principle that we believed in and we still believe in is that we start obsessing about scale, from day zero, which is just, in my opinion, not needed.
Hmm.
It's a journey that you make from 0 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 100,000, and the world will keep changing with every milestone that you keep hitting. So as unscalable as it's, imagine Ragini driving around the town to convince people. Like, there is nothing more unscalable than that,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But we were okay doing that because we knew that the minute we get to 100, our world will
Hmm.
start doing different. Getting that
Yeah.
101% will be easier. So
Yeah.
that's why we continue to do so many things today that people laugh at us, that
Hmm.
what is it that you guys are doing, why are you building things which will just not scale? And we laugh
Hmm.
back because
Hmm.
we are on our own journey,
Hmm.
and we feel that with every milestone our world will keep changing, but
Hmm.
be prepared for that be prepared for it to happen very, very gradually,
Hmm.
um, and uh, and be patient when you're building at least a business like ours.
Yeah. So there's another question, and I wanted to ask the same thing as well. So you got your first 100 customers, but now you have thousands of customers. So what worked for you? Like, was it completely word of mouth, or did you do any kind of targeted marketing, advertisement, email, anything that you did, which led to 7,000 or thousands of members now?
What is the most interesting thing that we did, and I'll answer this question very honestly. The
Hmm.
most interesting thing that we did was we lost all our inhibitions about talking about what we are doing. We
Hmm.
kept talking about what we are doing on social. We kept spamming our friends on WhatsApp, on Instagram. This is what it is. And again,
Hmm.
we've again, I personally learned it again from my co-founder Ragini, that just keep drilling what you are doing. Doesn't matter. Don't overthink. Our social game has, we've gotten so many questions. We get so many these things that you guys are all over social and you keep doing great activities on social, and that takes a
Hmm.
lot of time and effort and planning and everything, right? But we've just been at it. So
Hmm.
to answer, now we are almost touching 10,000 odd users.
Hmm.
We have only started paid marketing last month, just to
Hmm.
experiment. And that also, when I say, I think we spent around 2.5, 3 lakhs, which is again nothing,
Hmm.
with respect to what other companies spend on customer
Yeah.
acquisition.
Hmm.
50% plus of our members have come via referrals, word of mouth, referrals, everything. So ultimately, the proof of the pudding is, there as well, that how people can go out and talk about your product in different ways. Whoever people who are listening to us today, uh, one challenge that I want to throw at you: just go on LinkedIn, type Leap.club. You will see thousands of posts which are being done by our members, which is being done by the community, and that is what is helping us spread the word, right? So there will be a time again when we, let's say, want to scale from 10,000 to 100,000 members, and we want to maybe do it in slightly faster, this thing. But and we will spend money on acquisition, and that journey also we will do. But just don't overthink about talking about yourself. Be ruthless in just I don't want to use the word that we don't spam, but we over communicate. Let me just put it
Yeah.
that way, right? We over communicate with our
The
user
phrase
base, with our member base.
the phrase is building in public.
Yes, yes. In fact, again, the team uses that quite a bit. So we build
Huh.
in public. We are at it, right? We keep talking about the same things again and again,
Hmm.
and that has worked really, really well for us. And of course, all the member love and what they post. But I will again suggest that till the time you start to hit 10,000 odd users, members, till the time you see, why are people churning? How can you get them back?
Hmm.
Don't start
Hmm.
spending money on acquisition, because you will end up being a leaky bucket, and you don't
Hmm.
want to be do that. You don't want to be that in your early days.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, probably the customer love and this building in public, by I think I saw some of the post by Ragni that how I got to know about Leap.club actually as
Yeah,
a
exactly. So even even a lot of team members who join us, and a lot of them are starting their careers with us, and are new on even platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter, and we actually spend a lot of time. We invest a lot of time in training them. Because we as humans think, "Achha, we've done it now once. It's done." But we just
Hmm.
have to be at it. A lot of our hiring, for example, we go crazy with
Hmm.
hiring posts, and
Hmm.
we just have to be at it again. So
Hmm.
don't hold yourself back in any way. The
Yeah.
It's as cliche as it sounds. 100, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So
Hmm.
keep taking those shots,
Hmm.
and things will eventually work.
So, Anand, a lot of companies, investors, and marketers suggest that to grow your product or to market your product, community is the probably the right way. So, what will be your suggestions to them? Like, if a company like Mailmodo or any other startup they want to grow their business by building a community, what should be their process, or is there a framework that you can suggest?
Yeah. Again, see, first of all, any this thing starts with deep thinking.
Hmm.
So you have to now understand that any other SaaS product or any other SaaS product or any fintech product, we have credit card companies in India who want to build communities around their products, right? So every okay, maybe not every, but most of the companies want to now build communities around their product. So what do we see? The typical thing in India that we see is that companies which will launch products first, and then they will try and build communities around them. Our journey was actually the opposite. Our first step was that we are building a community first, and then we are building products on top. We launched, for
Hmm.
example, courses just a couple of weeks back. So now you
Hmm.
can go ahead and book a lot of workshops, a lot of courses on the platform. We're thinking
Hmm.
about a lot of D&I stuff, including jobs, employer branding, and all of these products. In the next 6-8 months. And again, we have built distribution first, so it
Hmm.
enables us to do that. But
Yeah.
again, let's say if you are a product first company and you want to do, and now you want to build a community around that, focus on that one thing. What I said in the beginning, that what is it that binds us or your users together.
Hmm.
In terms of Mailmodo, if that is sending great emails, and we're doing much better than other competitors out there, our product is much more superior, and marketers can just save a lot of time doing XYZ and gain a
Hmm.
lot of insights. Then it's all about that, right?
Hmm.
So it's just crafting your mission, crafting what is it that binds the group together. And of
Hmm.
course you have to make it slightly challenging, in the sense it's slightly participative. I think that's the word. The
Hmm.
user should be able to participate in that product, right?
Hmm.
If I'm a credit card company, and what is my participation? I'm going out and swiping and and paying the bills, right? As in, maybe cred try to do that in a different way. And of course it's cool to laugh on cred, but they're doing really good. And maybe
Hmm.
cred try to do that in a different way by points, right? They
Hmm.
try to build a community around that, and rewards,
Hmm.
around that. So what is that one thing that will bind your users towards your mission, towards your product? Think through, and only
Hmm.
then go down this path. Because again, it might sound cool, it might sound the latest fad, but it's not easy. Users are going to be always going to be wanting more. So be
Hmm.
prepared for all of that.
Yeah, that's very insightful. um, Anand, you also mentioned that you just launched courses. So, what are your next plans? Are you looking to launch more products, or what are your future plans for next few years?
Yeah. So let me again, give a slightly detailed answer there. When we launched 2 years, in the last 2 years, we said, I said that we've built a community. So
Hmm.
when we were launching, what were people telling us? People were telling us that they want to increase their professional network. For XYZ
Hmm.
reasons, they are not able to do that on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And they would want a smaller group of people where they can learn with, who they can learn from, or whatever they can connect with for partnerships, whatever it is. So we built our first product around that. So again, it was all users who told us what they wanted.
Hmm.
Then users started telling us that Leap is a great platform for professional growth. I'm learning from my peers, my other users, but now I want to go a little bit more, and learn maybe from creators, and I want
Hmm.
to invest in slightly, I want to invest a little bit more in my growth, learn with
Hmm.
the best creators, and also learn with great peers, because again, Leap ensures that.
Hmm.
So we did a few pilots, right? As in, we did a few pilots. We launched courses. In fact, in the last 2 weeks, we've sold close to 1,000 odd paid seats. Now,
Hmm.
so again, great start for us.
Hmm.
The So again, the users told us what they wanted.
Hmm.
Now, now another thing that we see, a lot of activity that we see on the platform, for example, is around career moves, is
Hmm.
around our users trying to discover the best places to work at.
Hmm.
What is the one permanent thing that has happened after COVID? People talk about hybrid work and work to work from office and all of these things, and all of these things might go back to normal of pre-COVID levels. But the one
Hmm.
fundamental change that has happened is that we don't want to be wasting our time doing something that we don't like. We want
Hmm.
to work on good stuff. We want to learn, or we want to work with good people. We want to work with good managers, leaders, peers, and
Hmm.
opportunities are there, right? People are realizing that opportunities are there. People, again,
Hmm.
so a lot of those career moves are happening on our platform. For
Hmm.
us, we are now thinking that maybe in the next 6 to 8 months we will launch something which is around which will help you discover the best places to work at in India
Hmm.
and globally. and help you get there as well, right? So if you feel that that you really want to get through Google, because Google is a great place to work at, so our goal is to help you get there. Our goal is to help you get shortlisted for those interviews. Our goal is for Google to communicate very seamlessly with you, via their company pages, employer branding, all their DNI activities that they do. So we feel that courses and then everything at the workplace, DNI, jobs, employer branding, that's the next step for us.
Nice, interesting. So I see there are so many questions in the comments. I will take a few questions from the comments. So first question is by Sonia. Like, what sort of activities did you use to engage the community, especially in the initial stage?
Okay, so great question, because again, these are things that we can really think about, and we can create five things, but we don't need, again, our approach is that we don't need to do that. Why are people joining us? I keep going back to this because this is literally first principle thinking, right? We again keep talking about these things, we keep reading about these things, but let's practice it. Why are people joining us? Because they want to meet and discover new people. They want to form stronger bonds for XYZ reasons. So, okay, so how do we enable that? We launched a bunch of products. Now, let's say we talk about other strategies to engage. So now we live in a world where the world is opening up. COVID is going away. So maybe now people want to get out of their homes. So can we do offline events where people come and meet each other? Again, the underlying thing is they again come and meet each other. So everything is again, going back to first principle. Why are people joining? Why are people winning? And that is the only way in which you can form your strategies of what you should be doing. For us, we are heavy on offline these days. Again, if people have been following what we do, we just wrapped up an event in Bombay with almost 200, 250 odd members, who came. A lot of our members do events themselves. Again, this was a cue for us. Last month, I think there were 30, 40 odd events that members did themselves. There's a book club, for example, that got formed, and they meet once a month and discuss, about whatever book that they're reading. Or there's a gin and wine club that got formed because they want to discover, the new gin or wine in their city, or the new places in their city. So we have to learn from these things, and then we have to just double click and make sure that the users are able to do what they want to do. Our job is just that. The minute we try and do new things, etc., we have to, of course, test them and figure out, is that why people are joining your platform?
Yeah, one common learning that I'm getting from all your answers is keep learning from your users.
For sure. We do a quarterly NPS exercise. We invite members to our office, and literally the brief is, we call it a product roast, and the brief is like, shit on us, like tell us what we do wrong. And of course, again, our members are really nice and sweet, so they don't they also package it really well, but they tell us that where all what all can we do differently. So having your ears in a business like ours, in any business for that matter, having your ears to the ground is extremely important. And a business like ours just enables that in a slightly easier ways as well.
Yeah, that's a learning for all product teams out there.
Yeah.
I have another question by Archana. So she's asking, like, Leap has a very unique voice reflecting the community style. How did you develop that? What was the process behind it?
No, I wish I had a smart answer for this. The process is, of course, now we have a lot of brains, who are, now we have almost a 50 plus team. And we have someone, for example, called Ravisha in our marketing team, and she does a really, really good job of having a pulse of, what is, what is happening on social. How can we participate? Initially, it was, all Canva. Let's try. So again, if we try and summarize the learning was that you don't have to be perfect from day one, right? Again, if you go to our older posts, like we laugh at them, we are embarrassed about those posts today, but but it's okay. Ultimately, you will get more. Ultimately, you will get smarter people who will have a much better idea of what is happening. We have never tried to box or have a brand manual that this is how we will talk or this is how what we will do. We have just tried to be very honest with everything that we do, even at times when we, let's say, do something stupid or we make a mistake, we try and be honest about it. So the more human we are, and in fact, let me give this example. Kunal, again from Cred, he's an investor with us, and he was kind enough to do a call with us when he was investing. The one thing that he said was, humanize the brand, right? As in, you have to really, really humanize. And for a brand like ours, Leap cannot be just another e-commerce, just another delivery company, a company like that. Yes, we can still be funny, we can still be topical, but we have to humanize the brand, and that's what we have tried to do. And the easiest way of doing that is by being honest.
Yeah. Another question is around what are the some of the setbacks that you faced in last 2 years? What were the key learnings from it?
The setbacks were that initially I think we were promising a lot, right? So any new company, any new team, we of course want to do everything for our members. Just go out. The joke was, the internal joke was that Ragini was our AI and ML, right? Because we didn't have any tech, right? So if there is no tech, then our brain is our tech, and Ragini was handling community, so she was our AI and ML, and of course, and things when we scaled beyond a certain point, things started to break. So again, the learning was that promise only as much as you can deliver, right? Don't overpromise, because the first conversation is something that the user is always going to hold you against. If you promise something, then make sure that you're delivering it. So we faced a lot of challenges initially. Both Ragini and I didn't have, for example, a tech background. So I mentioned that the first 6-7 odd months were all on WhatsApp, right? But then we had to build a mobile app, and then building the first version of the mobile app was insanely scary, and we really, really, I think wasted a lot of time in doing things that we shouldn't have. So again, a lot of struggles, a lot of people. The hiring in the pandemic wasn't easy at all. People. It was a stressful time for everyone, and we were here. Here we were trying to build a 0 to 1 startup, impatient founders. So a lot of struggles, but we've just tried to be better than yesterday in every way, in any way possible. So be it with the team, be it with the users. I think what has always worked with us is just being honest, being, this is what it is, and struggles are even there today. They're not going to go anywhere. But it's the good thing is that build a strong team around you, so that when you get up in the morning, there are multiple brains working on that problem, and ultimately, that's what's needed.
So yeah, there's another question regarding building team. How did you get the right people to work for you? Is there any special skill set required to run a community?
Yes. For example, when you're building a community, for example, you need to be slightly, you need to enjoy talking to people, right? I don't want to use the word introvert and extrovert, because, I'm an introvert, but I've done sales half my life.
Yeah.
So you ultimately figure your own way and you figure your own style. But if you don't, for example, if I didn't enjoy meeting restaurant partners at Zomato, my sales career would have never taken off. If you are a community manager who does not want to talk to your users, then you're in the wrong job, right? So you have to hire for the role. Hire what we believe in. The sort of a framework that we follow is that, is the person a culture fit? By culture, we don't mean cool, right? We've all grown up. When I was growing up, and when I've been in startups for almost 12, 13 years in India, and when I was starting my career in startups, the cool thing was, can you have a beer with that person, for example? This is how we used to define culture fit. Now it's very, very different, right? In the sense that who is the person who will keep Leap first? Are they keeping the company first? Are they understanding what is it that we're trying to build? How are they, on ownership? These things are extremely important. Everything else, skill, all of this is very trainable, right? So, even what you offer, your products, they keep changing. So, continuous upskilling is needed. But just hire people who believe in your mission, hire people who are good at take feedback, hire people who are comfortable with the speed at which you want to work. In any interview that I take, one of my statements or one of my questions is that Leap is going to be a shit show on days. It's going to be ambiguous. It's going to be, your goalpost will keep changing. I will be extremely impatient. Will you be okay with all of that? And only, the person needs to, it's very cool to work in a startup because you'll grow fast and, you're seeing all the pictures on social media, but it's a tough life. So you have to be ready for all of that, and you have to hire for all of that. And ultimately, it's going to take a long time again, because you'll hire 10 people, maybe 2 or 3 of them will not work out. And that's also a journey that you have to make. But ultimately getting a great team together is might be the top one or two reasons why your startup will succeed or fail.
Absolutely agree with that. Now, another question is by Surya. He's asking, is advertising a good source of revenue for community-led product? And if you do it.
We don't think about it. We don't think about
Hmm.
it at all, to be honest, Surya. It's something that advertising only works at massive scale.
Hmm.
We Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Glance, like all of these products work beautifully well because they have massive scale. The minute we
Hmm.
start doing, we start being cheeky about posting stuff on our platform. Firstly, users are smart enough to figure out what is happening. Do you really want
Hmm.
that at this stage?
Hmm.
And secondly, the money is not going to be significant, right? In the sense that okay,
Yeah.
you might get 5 advertisers, but is your company goal to make advertising dollars right now, or is your
Hmm.
company goal to keep your users happy and grow really fast?
Hmm.
And for a company like ours, the answer is always the latter. That we are lucky enough to be funded by some of the best investors. We are lucky enough to be that we've been paid from day one. So that
Hmm.
keeps we know that there are bills to pay, but
Hmm.
advertising early on, in my opinion, can never be the answer.
Yeah. So I don't have any more questions from the audience, but I have one last question, Anand. Is there any key? What are the like top 3 points that you will end this conversation with for the other marketers, founders who are trying to build their own communities?
I would say the first thing that I have learned is that you have to be bold.
Hmm.
You just sitting in front of your laptop and or in your office or in your meeting room, there's absolutely nothing that's going to happen. No one cares. I say this 5 times a day in the team. No
Hmm.
one, when we in our internal meetings, no one cares about what you're building until you reach a certain stage. No
Hmm.
one cares about how your logo looks. No one cares about how cool your t-shirts are or what your social posts are till of course he reach a certain level, right? So
Hmm.
focus on delivering value. Is It has to be key.
Hmm.
Second is, think very, very deeply of what you're building, right? Because in life, there are, as I said this, and I'm going to repeat it, there are always easier things and tough things. And as humans, we always gravitate towards the easier things.
Hmm.
Don't do that. Do the tougher things first. Understand, what, and how we will get there, or what is it that we're chasing, and do the tougher things. And then the journey will just keep getting easier and easier for you. The third thing, since you were talking about team, um, don't settle. Don't settle
Hmm.
at all. There are times when you will make hiring mistakes, when people will
Hmm.
leave you, and vice versa, or whatever. But just
Hmm.
in the early stages, please don't settle at all.
Hmm.
Try and build the right team, right people around you. That is make or break for any early stage product company. And then
Hmm.
once you have all of this, then as we have learned over the last 2 years, just keep build in public, over communicate, keep at it,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but thanks, Anand. Thanks for sharing the whole journey. And this conversation was actually one of the most engaging conversation I had. I see there's so many comments. People loved your talk, and we got to learn a lot of things from you. And thanks again from the whole Mail Modo team again, and from the audience side as well for sharing your journey.
No, thank you so much. And we since we are a B2C build business, community business, there are so many learnings and so many hard truths that hit us every day. So
Hmm.
this was a great platform for us to also share that. So thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, and thank you, audience, for joining us.
Thank you. Bye, Akib.